Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive?
Absolutely. Let's get into it.
Awesome. So, lots of you have been asking about self-confidence. You want to know how to build it, how to get more of it. Well, ask, and ye shall receive.
Right. It's such a powerful thing to have.
It really is. So, to help us out today, we're going to be looking at some excerpts from this guide called Pasted Text. And it's got some great actionable advice.
Oh, yeah. This is one of my favorites. It really breaks things down.
For sure. Like one of the things it talks about, which I thought was super interesting, is how important it is to actually understand your insecurities.
Yeah. You got to know what you're dealing with.
Exactly. It's like before you can build anything, you got to know the ground you're building on, you know?
Makes sense. You wouldn't build a house on like a swamp without doing some prep work first.
Uh-huh. Exactly. And this guide, it even suggests keeping a journal.
Oh, yeah. Journaling is so helpful.
So you can kind of keep track of situations where you feel insecure, you know? See if there are any patterns.
Totally. Like, are there certain people who make you feel less confident? Or maybe certain situations? It's all about figuring out your triggers.
Right. Like a detective almost. Figuring out the crime scene of your self-doubt.
I love that analogy. So we're figuring out those triggers, and then what?
Well, then it's about tackling those negative thoughts head on. You know, that voice in your head that's like, I'm not good enough, or I can't do this.
Oh, we all have that voice. It can be so loud sometimes.
It really can. But this guide suggests replacing that with positive affirmations. So instead of, I'm not good enough, it's, I am capable and I'm learning every day.
Yeah, it's about changing the script, right?
But isn't that a little, I don't know, like oversimplifying things? What about people who have like really deep-seated insecurities? Is positive self-talk really enough?
It's a great question, and it's important to remember that positive self-talk isn't about pretending everything is perfect or, ignoring real problems. It's about consciously choosing a more helpful and realistic way to talk to yourself.
I see. So it's not about denying reality.
Right. For example, if you're not happy with, say, your presentation skills at work.
Presentation?
I know, right? But instead of telling yourself, like, I'm terrible at this, you could say, I'm working on improving my presentation skills, and each one is a chance to practice and get better.
Okay, so it's about recognizing the struggle, but focusing on the progress.
Exactly. And, this is where some techniques from cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, can be really helpful.
CBT.
Yeah, cognitive behavioral therapy. It helps you identify and challenge those negative thought patterns and replace them with more realistic and helpful ones. There are some really great CBT workbooks and exercises out there.
Interesting. So it's like a more structured approach to, changing the way you think. Okay, so that's the mental side of things. But what about actions?
Well, that's where setting achievable goals comes in.
Ah, okay. I see the connection. So if you're constantly setting yourself up for failure, like aiming for these huge, impossible goals, it's going to be tough to build confidence.
Exactly. It's all about those small wins, breaking things down into manageable steps. Like, imagine you want to learn a new skill, maybe.
Coding.
Coding, perfect.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, I'm going to become a master programmer in a month, you could start by saying, okay, I'm going to code for 15 minutes every day. And you know what? Sticking to that goal, even when you don't feel like it, that gives you a sense of accomplishment. It builds that self-belief like, hey, I can do this.
Yeah, I get that. It's like those gamified apps, They give you points or badges for doing small things, and it keeps you motivated.
Totally. And the funny thing is, it works, even if you know it's kind of a trick. Our brains love those little rewards.
It's true. And you know what else I thought was interesting? The guide mentions focusing on your strengths.
Oh, yeah, that's huge.
We get so caught up in like what we're not good at that we forget all the awesome things we can already do.
Right. It's like we're constantly looking at the things we want to change or improve, that we forget to appreciate all the amazing skills and talents we already have.
It's so true.
Yeah.
So find those things you rock at and do more of them.
Absolutely. Think about what you enjoy doing, what comes naturally to you. Those are often clues to your strengths. And engaging in those activities, it's not just fun, it can really boost your confidence. It's like, hey, I'm good at this. I've got this.
It's like a reminder of your awesomeness.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've talked about mindset, we've talked about actions. What about the physical stuff?
Oh, you mean self-care?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the guide talks about this too. And it's like, okay, sleep, good food, exercise. We all know we should be doing those things.
Right. It can feel a little preachy sometimes.
It totally can. But I'm curious, how does that actually impact our confidence?
It's all about the mind-body connection. You can't separate the two. When you prioritize your physical health, it has a huge impact on your mental and emotional well-being.
Okay, I'm listening.
Think about it. When you're exhausted, running on junk food, and haven't moved your body in days.
Ugh, sounds awful.
Right. It's way harder to feel good about yourself, let alone tackle challenges with confidence. But when you're taking care of yourself, getting enough sleep, eating nutritious food, moving your body, it's like you're sending yourself a message.
What kind of message?
A message that you're worth investing in, that you're important, that you deserve to feel good. And that translates into greater confidence.
So it's like building yourself a strong foundation, inside and out. Makes sense.
Mhm.
Speaking of foundations, the guide also talks about your social circle, like the people you surround yourself with.
Oh, yeah, that's so important.
Because we all have those friends who are like energy vampires, you know? They drain you, they bring you down.
It's true, and it's amazing how much our social circles influence how we see ourselves. It's like if you're constantly around people who are negative or critical,
Oof, yeah.
it's going to chip away at your self-confidence. But if you surround yourself with people who believe in you, who encourage you, who celebrate your wins,
It's like a totally different energy.
right, it lifts you up. It makes you feel like you can do anything.
So true. Sometimes the biggest act of self-love is setting boundaries with those energy vampires and finding your tribe, you know?
Absolutely. You deserve to be around people who make you feel good about yourself.
Okay, so we've talked about mindset, actions, self-care, social circle, and now it's time to step outside the comfort zone.
Yes, this is where the real growth happens.
But why is it so important for building confidence?
Because when you do things that scare you, things you didn't think you could do,
Yeah.
it changes your whole perception of yourself. Think about a time you did something that really pushed you outside your comfort zone. Maybe you gave a presentation or went on a solo trip or, I don't know, asked someone out on a date. Remember that feeling afterward?
Like a rush of like, wow, I did that.
Exactly. That feeling of accomplishment, it solidifies your belief in yourself. It's
Wow.
like proof that you're capable of more than you thought.
Makes sense. And the guide also talks about um, observing other people, like people who seem really confident.
Oh, I love that. It's like finding confidence role models.
Right. So what can we learn from them?
Well, it's not about like copying them exactly. It's more about observing how they carry themselves, how they handle different situations. Maybe they're amazing at public speaking, or they're super assertive in meetings, or they just have this air of like quiet confidence.
I know exactly what you mean.
So you watch them, you see what they do, and then you think, okay, how can I adapt that to my own personality and goals?
So it's like having a confidence mentor, even if they don't know it.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay, now the guide also mentions seeking professional help, like therapy or counseling.
Yeah, and I think it's important to normalize that because sometimes our insecurities have really deep roots.
I hear you.
And sometimes we need a little help to untangle those roots. You know, therapy can be a safe and supportive space to explore those issues, develop healthy coping mechanisms, and work through past experiences that might be holding you back. There's absolutely no shame in getting that kind of support.
None at all. Okay, and finally, the guide talks about gratitude.
Ah, yes, the power of gratitude.
It sounds kind of simple, but how does focusing on what you have actually help build confidence?
Because gratitude shifts your focus. Instead of dwelling on what you lack, you're intentionally focusing on what you do have.
Okay, so you're changing your perspective.
Exactly. And that can have a powerful effect on how you see yourself, on your whole outlook on life. Plus, there's actually some pretty cool neuroscience behind it. Studies show that practicing gratitude can actually rewire your brain.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, it makes you more optimistic, more resilient, and guess what? More confident.
So just taking a few minutes each day to appreciate the good things in your life can actually make a difference.
Absolutely. It's like a little dose of positivity and self-love all rolled into one.
Wow, this has been so insightful. Thanks for walking us through all this. It seems like building self-confidence is like this multifaceted journey. There are so many different tools and strategies.
Right. And the key is to find what works for you, what resonates with you.
Exactly. And to remember that it's a journey, not a destination.
That's so important. It's not about reaching some perfect level of confidence. It's about constantly evolving, learning, and growing, and becoming the best version of yourself.
I love that. So, to all our listeners out there on this journey of self-discovery, here's a thought-provoking question for you. What's one small, brave step you can take today to step outside your comfort zone and build your confidence?
It doesn't have to be anything huge, just something that challenges you a little bit.
Right. Remember, even the tiniest actions can create a ripple effect and lead to some amazing changes.
You've got this.
Thanks for joining us, everyone.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.